You see it, you see it. This is Candelanice for reviews and news. What are we reviewing today? The Residents. I feel like I should have my magnifying glass, detective glass. I feel like maybe I need to do this in front of my bookshelf. Do I need to do this in Washington, D.C.? Where do I need to review this? All right, y'all. If you have not watched The Residents on Netflix, you are missing out. Everybody must watch this. This is a phenomenal show. And Uzu, Shonda Rhimes knew who to get for this lead. I've never seen her in lead capacity in this way. Let me go on over to my bookshelf, even though y'all can't see it. Let me just focus on this review. Okay, this is a whodunit. Suspense, humor, suspicion, side eyes, quietness, stillness to figure out who done it. Who took out A.B. Wynter? He is the head usher at the fictional White House. And he is the one that's in charge of the residents. Now, this is a side of the Oval Office in the White House we have never seen before, coming from Shonda Rhimes. Okay, so how this is set up is these are the residents, not all the big figures that we know. These are the people that keep it running, from the chef to the pastry chefs to the florist shop to the assistants with everything, right? The housekeeping, the anything that you can think of, the engineers, the plumbers, the medics, everybody. Anybody that you can see in a small city or a small town, or think of a hospital or a large corporation or business, except magnify that. All the people that keep it running behind the scenes. Some live there, some don't, but they make everything happen. So they don't work for the White House per se. They work for the residents, right? The head over here, right? I'm trying not to explain everything too much because I want you to understand it like I did the first time I watched it. You're like, oh, right? So then you have all of the right-hand people for the president. You have all of the people that we kind of know, the handlers. Now they have a first husband, not a first lady, or the wife of the president, right? It's a first husband. So they already switched that part, right? So then you have Giancarlo Esposito, who plays the person who was, and we got to figure it out. But Andre Braugher, who was on Homicide from out of Baltimore, that show, he was supposed to play it. How do I know this? Because they dedicate the show to him when it's over. But because I saw the behind the scenes of when they started making this 2 years ago, and Uzu had a baby a year ago, and then he passed away. So I'm sure they had to recollect, they had to mourn, they had to figure out some different things and decide who they wanted to play A.B. Wynter, which they gave to Giancarlo Esposito, which, of course, y'all know he does an amazing job with everything. But I was so happy to see Edwina Finley. She was so good playing Sheila. But let me just tell you some of the people that you may have seen before, you may have not seen before, or their faces look familiar. You're like, I know that guy from here. I know this woman from here. But Susan Kelechi, y'all know her from This Is Us, part of the R&B connection with her and Randall. She was good. Everybody played their role, chef's kiss, magnificently, right? And it was humor, dry humor, intelligent humor, silly humor, but it was also serious, but it wasn't, but it was still a who done it. Now, if you are a fan of a who done it, like who did it, unsolved, the in Clue and Inspector Gadget and trying to figure out and putting pieces together, let me tell you, this one right here, Uzu's character, Detective Cupp, she was phenomenal. The backdrop of her is she's a bird watcher. That's where you see the birds behind her, and that's where you see the binoculars. And she linked everything to that. And some people might thought she was odd or why are you bird watching? But she was connecting everything. And she was super smart. They even went back in her life and how she started being a detective with her sister's missing sock when she was a child and trying to figure it out. And she writes in this journal pictures and words and drawings. And everybody's like, what is she doing? Is she sitting there journaling? But she's figuring it out. And then she has this blank stare where she just looks. And it says a lot. Like, if you want somebody to keep talking, you be quiet. And if you want to see if somebody is guilty of something, you be quiet. So she's just like, and they're like, okay. It's magnificent the way that they did this. Like I said, the way that they casted this, it is phenomenal. Okay, so everybody has a motive per se on why they would want AB out of here. Everybody has a motive because it wouldn't be fun if everybody didn't have a motive and didn't want to see him here anymore, right? It wouldn't be fun, and it wouldn't be a whodunit if we figured it out right away, right? And I had my suspicion on who did it. And at the end, let's just say I was not wrong, right? But they'll have you thinking different things. But you got to really pay attention. But even if you pay attention, you'll be like, okay, this person, you might have like 4 or 5 different people like who have done it. But think about the obvious. You like, I don't know if it's the obvious, but it was just so good. They got the president's brother there, right? And he is there walking around in his robe and no shoes, and his brother like threatens him. He's the president. Then you got the first husband's mother who nobody likes, and she's a drunk, playing by Jane Curtin. Y'all remember her on Kate and Allie, and y'all remember her on Saturday Night Live? She's good in this. I'm just going to put the cast in the comments, because if I go by one, this will be long. But I'm not, just because I didn't mention their name doesn't mean that they're not amazing. Every person you see here, they played the heck out of their characters. So good. And it's some that you don't see here because it starts off at a state dinner. So you see, and they're hosting Australia. Even those actors, good. Like, it was good. So if you have not checked it out, definitely check out. Child, I'm just noticing it's in Spanish right here. The problem was I was trying to find everybody in one, and I didn't realize it was in Spanish, but that's okay. I wanted to show everybody, but you see them over here? This is my kind of foolery. This tomfoolery in this show, all of them, just look at their faces. You know it's some foolery going on, but it's good foolery. Because the final one tells you who did it, right? Now, y'all got to watch the whole thing. Just don't go to the end, because I'm telling you, this is good TV. Like with this, Matlock, Elsbeth, we getting some new good TV again. Remember, like back in the day, we're getting it. Good quality. Uzu Aduba as Cordelia Cupp, Detective Cordelia Cupp. She needs an Emmy. Just the acting alone that she did with her face and her body. And it's one scene where she's trying to see what happens, and she sits on the couch, but she falls back and gets back up. If y'all seen it, y'all know this thing had me on suspense mode. It had me laughing. It had me sad for a minute because the man that lost his life. All right, this is Kendall Anisha, Fave Life Coach, the Remix Coach. If you thought about watching this, watch it. Reviews and news.